The first question this week comes from Paul in Florida, and since I answered this one in this week's email newsletter, I decided to also answer it here because I think it has some pretty wide appeal. And he was using Front Page Express, a very basic web editing software that's been around for probably almost 10 years, and Microsoft has finally dropped it. So he asked me my recommendation, and I told him give this one a try. It's called NVU, and NVU is at nvu.com. And it works for both Windows, any version of Windows, Linux, and Macintosh. Open source, free, and it works really, really well. Pat has a question that comes up quite a bit in the last couple of months about Service Pack 1. When Service Pack 1 for Vista came out last spring, I mentioned that you probably ought to hold off for a while to make sure everything's going to work fine. It seems to be working okay. I would have to say Service Pack 1 is a little bit more stable overall for most people than the Windows XP Service Pack 3. So I would say go to your manufacturer's website for your computer, make sure there isn't any updates to BIOS or any kind of driver updates that you need to do prior to doing the Service Pack 1 update for Vista, and you should be fine. But overall, it's been working out okay for most people. John's writing about trying to clean out his document page, and he gets a box stating Windows Explorer has stopped working. I have no clue what your document page is, John. I think if you give me some more details, I might be able to figure out what you're trying to do, but I cannot for the life of me try to discern what a document page is and why you would get that particular error when you're trying to do whatever it is you're trying to do. So write back, give me some more details, maybe we'll get you some help. Jose is writing in with a suggestion on a question we talked about last week about converting cassette tapes to CDs, and he's using a software called Digitope, I don't know how you would pronounce that, and he says it's worked very well for him, costs about $25, and is not too difficult to figure out. And although you have to listen to every single song and there's a little bit of time involved, he likes that particular product. And as always, I like to hear suggestions from you, the listener. Thanks very much, Jose, for the feedback. And whoever asked that question last week, hopefully they'll find this website address helpful as well. Here's a question from Pam, who's trying to install AVG and getting this particular error, and she's not sure exactly what she's doing wrong. What I'm going to suggest you do, Pam, is go back to my website. Apparently she's trying to use one of the links there. Go back to the website. It looks like you're pretty close to getting this finished, but go and watch my video on how to upgrade to AVG 8.0. Download the product again and follow those steps, step by step, and I think you'll find yourself successful in getting it installed. Gloria is trying to print larger with her Hewlett-Packard printer. She doesn't say what she's trying to print larger. I'm going to assume it's the web. A lot of times people will print things from the internet and they come out kind of small after you print them. So depending on the site you're going to, the first thing to always look for is what is called printer-friendly pages, or it'll just say print page format, things like that, before you hit the print button, and you'll get a reformatted page that should look a little bit better. The other thing you can try is go to my website and look up scroll wheel. Just type in the words scroll wheel, and you'll find a tip on how to increase the size of the text on the page before you print again. So it's not the printer fault, it's just what you're starting with, and you're going to need to figure out how to make that easier to read on the screen prior to you going ahead and printing, and then you should be in good shape. The other thing you can always do is also copy and paste text into a word processor and use the word processor to increase the text size as well. So one of those techniques should work for you, Gloria, and you'll be a lot happier with your printouts. John has a question about a friend who's using an older Macintosh computer, the Mac OS 9, which is now getting on to be about 10 or so years old. He's using Internet Explorer 5, and now he can't get into his Gmail because of a certificate problem, and he's wondering what can he do. More than likely, eventually he's going to have to update that particular computer because the Mac OS 9 is getting more and more dated all the time. However, he can also try to go to opera.com and download an older version of Opera, which is a very good web browser that will run on Mac OS 9. But I don't think there's any other browsers out there that I know of that will work on Mac OS 9. The new Firefox, the newer versions of Opera, all require, and new versions of Safari, which is the new Apple browser, all require OS 10 and above. We had a similar question to this one a few weeks ago. Jim is asking, what do I recommend for registry cleaners? I do not recommend registry cleaners at all. There are a ton of them out there, but the downside of using a registry cleaner is if you don't know how to use it properly and it deletes something that's important, you're going to hose your computer and have to reinstall everything on your computer. 90% of computer users don't know anything about the registry, and if you don't know anything about the registry, trusting the registry to a registry cleaner is extremely dangerous. So I never recommend them because I don't want to give anybody a route to making their computer into a doorstop. And to me, using a registry cleaner without proper knowledge is going to do that. And even with proper knowledge, people can oftentimes do much damage to their computer using one of those products. Use a good antivirus product, keep your temporary files clean, run some anti-spyware, and you should be just fine. The registry can take care of itself. If you start to see a big slowdown on your computer and it's been 4 or 5 years since you bought it, the best thing to do to clean out the registry is back up your data, take everything off the system, and reinstall Windows and all of your programs from scratch, and you're going to find yourself running a better machine. Lorene is having a problem with Windows Media Player, and she's getting some errors about a specified protocol is not supported, and she's been using it for years. Could be a Windows update that did that to you, Lorene, or it could be another program that updated and caused an interruption with your Windows Media Player. A couple of things I think I would try is look for a newer version of Windows Media Player. You may not be running the newest one. Go to Microsoft.com, type in Windows Media Player, and download the newest one. Or you can go into System Restore, Start, Programs, Accessories, System Tools, System Restore, and then move your computer back to a date when you knew Windows Media Player was working well, and chances are you're going to find that it will work again. So that means somewhere in between those two times an update happened to either Windows or some other program that caused the problem, and then you're going to have to sleuth out after that which one it was and prevent it from doing it the next time by not allowing that update or upgrade to happen. Good luck. Anne was using the clipboard viewer in Windows XP and she's lost the ability to find it, and she's wondering how can she get it back. All you need to do is go to this website, which is Microsoft's website. I just put it in a tiny URL for you, and it has some step-by-step instructions on how to recreate a clipboard viewer shortcut on your desktop, and then you'll have access to it any time that you need. Larry has lost his Sonic Record Now CD burning software, and he's trying to figure out how to get it back with his HP recovery disks. If you have your recovery disks, there is a tool under HP. If you go into Start and Programs, and then it's going to be under either Disk Tools or HP Recovery Tools. It'll be something like that in your Programs menu. You'll put your disk in, and it'll walk you through getting just 1 or 2 applications off of your recovery CDs onto your computer. Don has an older computer and has 5 hard drives on it, but the smallest hard drive is a C drive with only 4.5 gigabytes, and he's wondering how to install programs on other drives to leave that C drive, which only has 166 megabytes free, as available as he can. When you install any program, you get to the point where it says where it's going to install it. It usually says C program files, Picasa, or whatever you're installing. You can change the C to whatever drive you want. However, keep in mind that all programs usually have to put in some type of data or files into the Windows directory and sometimes other directories on the C drive. So you can put the bulk of it on another drive, but with only 166 megabytes left on your C drive, you are at some point going to have to bite the bullet and reconfigure your system to put a bigger hard drive down there on C and reinstall your Windows. Good luck. Last question this week is from Papa C. Papa C says when moving around his computer, he gets a not responding on his title bar, and programs will sometimes hang up. Frequently, though, when you get this type of a message, it means that your system has run out of RAM, or the RAM has become so low, the temporary memory on your computer has become so low that the computer cannot digest and provide you the functions that you're asking to do of it, and the only way to correct that is to restart your computer and start over. So I would check to see if you need an upgrade on RAM. If you're using Windows XP, have at least 512 megabytes, preferably even more. And you also may want to check with whatever program's causing that problem, see if there's any updates or that will help rectify this type of situation. But more than likely, it's RAM. Thanks for writing, Papa C, and everyone else who wrote this week, and we'll be back again next week.